our custom command webinar, which is NetBeez's newest feature. Thank you for attending the webinar today. Let's kick it off. All right, so your presenters today are myself from the marketing team and Stefano from the product team.
Hey everyone.
Now let's go over the agenda for today. So on the agenda, we have an intro to custom command, what it is. It's our newest feature, but we're going to dive into a little bit how to run it, a live demo of it, some tips and tricks for using it, and then sharing scripts, how you can do that, and a special offer that we have if you would like to do it on our community page. So I will turn it over to you, Stefano.
Thank you, Jess, and hi everyone. I'm really excited to represent NetBeez to introduce the custom command. As we said before, was a long-awaited feature, and we'll see shortly why. So let's talk about NetBeez before or without custom command. And if you're familiar with our solution, NetBeez is a distributed network monitoring solution that performs synthetic tests on different layers from the network, the application, and we have really two types of commands: the real-time commands and the scheduled test. Real-time commands continuously run in background with an interval expressed in seconds, and we find here like ping, DNS, HTTP, or traceroute. And then we have scheduled tests, which are throughput tests like iPerf, network speed to get download and upload speed, and VoIP. And overall has been, a pretty complete solution. But always from time to time, we found we got into requests from customer and prospect that they would ask, hey, can you do perhaps this or that test? As there are so many checks that network administrators or troubleshooters really need to do on their network and against their application to proactively detect problems. And that's where the custom command comes from. So really, like, we feel like a bit, NetBeez before the advent of the introduction of custom command was a bit, I don't know if you recall the iPhone when it was launched in almost 20 years ago in 2007. For the first year, really, it was a beautiful, beautiful innovation and product, but it didn't have the App Store. So you were really limited to what the developer, the OEM, gives you and ships within the iPhone. And then, of course, 1 year later, shortly after, with the introduction of the SDK and the App Store, the explosion of the apps, definitely the iPhone, right? The value of the iPhone was a 10x at least for any user. And we like to think, of course, NetBeez in this term with the introduction of the custom command. Because the custom command really what does allow you is to run your own scripts and push the scripts to the agents and then run them as scheduled tests, right? So we're going to see how that works, but the fundamental thing is that you have the ability to define your own tests and checks and then push it to the agents and get the results. So let me talk about a bit the specification of this new feature. Of course, was just released a couple of weeks ago on version 15. So the August release, the Q3 release. And as I said, it runs as a scheduled test. Custom command is meant to run, at least for now, only on network agents because those seem to be, the how do you say, the right fit for this type of feature. So the network agents are, if you're familiar, we have two types of agents. We have the network agents and the remote worker agents. The network agents are standalone monitoring appliances. They can be hardware or software or virtual. And there are the remote worker agents that run on end user endpoint, people working from home. So the custom command right now will work only on network agents. And third, the scripts that you can that we support will be Bash and Python, which There is a lot that you can do with Bash and Python. So a lot of tests. We can consider in the future maybe other languages if it makes sense, but we feel right now with those two scripting languages, we can really tackle a lot of use cases. And then the scripts can be pretty long, up to 20,000 characters. So there is a lot that you can do basically with the scripts. And lastly, one thing to keep in mind, of course, that at this time, this script are running as an unprivileged user. So just as an FYI, you cannot do like everything, right? With a custom command. Of course, we want to avoid that someone maybe runs commands as root or as privileged user that are maybe not good for the agent itself. So by default, this will run as a privileged user. In any case, this is definitely like a great new feature. And I want to tell you a bit more about how you can, start monitoring NetBeez with the custom command. So the workflow is pretty simple. If you're familiar with our product, to create a schedule test, right? Like before was, hyper for network speed, they're considered schedule test. You have a different kind of wizard where in the first step you select the network agents to which you want to push the test. The network agent can be selected individually or by groups, making things more scalable, more kind of automated. Second, you paste your script on a, and then the third, you define the output schema. So basically, this script will have an output, and that output needs to be captured and processed by NetBeez and displayed on the dashboard. And that's what allows you to do on the output schema. And lastly, really set the command schedule. I think these are the most important steps. Of course, there is a bit more that you can do when configuring schedule tests, such as the execution mode. You can have agent run this command at the same time or in serial mode and in randomized mode. But in any case, these are the most important kind of steps. So I think this is a good time to taste it, to test our custom command. So let me show you a script that I have here staged. But before that, let me show you where you can. I'm sharing the NetBeez dashboard that you can see it now. First of all, I wanted to show you where the custom command is located if you're not familiar with the dashboard. So the first time when you log into the NetBeez dashboard, you're presented the bus tab. Then you would go to the test tab, the top menu, and then the custom command. And as you can see here, I have already, right, along with the other scheduled tests such as iPerf, network speed, or VoIP, I already have a couple of custom command configured and that are running at this time on, in this case, on 7 agents. So these two custom commands, one is doing an HTTP extended timing, which I'll show you. And this other is just gathering basic interface data for the Ethernet interface. But let's check out a second this one, how it looks. So you can see that in this extended timing, I'm doing basically an HTTP web page test, and I'm then breaking down that timing into DNS lookup time, connect time, SSL handshake time, and time to first byte. And this is an example where, NetBeez, by default, the HTTP test only provides the total page loading time. We don't break it down into these, how do you say, steps. And so this is a clear example of, a customer need that maybe is not implemented in the solution, but with the custom command, you can really run this test, right? Other example that always come up is like, hey, can you test databases? Well, we didn't really have too many tests on the application layer, but now with the custom command, you can do that. Do you want to run HTTP transactions? You can do that. So I think I think this, yeah, the comparison with the iPhone, sorry, and the Apple Store, I think it makes sense because really you can re-unlock really 10x or utility out of NetBeez thanks to this new feature. All right, I think I talk enough. Let me show you how you can create a custom command. So as I was saying before, I have here a script that it's a simple script that I did, and the goal of this script basically is looking at how many SSIDs wireless SSIDs are broadcasted in a network location where a network agent is deployed. And this is a pretty common use case. If you have, for example, your Wi-Fi network and you feel like you're in an area where there is a lot of like kind of signal overlapping with each other because maybe you're in an urban area. And there are some also devices that might not like when they get too many SSIDs being broadcasted. So it's something that you can create a custom check, and this custom script basically generate as output here the count of SSID as detected by the agent, by the wireless agent. So this is a script that is very specific to Wi-Fi sensors, right? All right, so I'm gonna for now copy this in my buffer, and I'm gonna go back to the NetBeez dashboard. And then from here, I'm gonna create a new custom command test. So I'm gonna click Add Test. And then, as I told you, the first step is select the agents where you want to run this command. So I'm gonna select all the Wi-Fi agents. As you can see, the remote worker agents are grayed out because you cannot run them there, but you can run on all the other network agents. Then in step 2, I'm going to paste the script that I just showed you before. And look at here, I have used 797 characters out of the 20,000. So really you have a lot of kind of things you can do with 20,000 characters. And then lastly, the very important step is define the output schema. So I'm gonna simply take rogue SSID, and then unit would be a count. This is like the unit is could be seconds, could be a number, a quantity. It's basically like the string that you see on the dashboard, right? It has significance on the dashboard itself on the UI. So here I can say total. Total. There you go. Then this is the timeout. I leave the defaults. And here I do execute this custom command. Let's do every maybe 15 minutes. There you go. And then the mode is parallel, so that means that the network agents will run this command at the same time, which, yeah, is not a problem, I think. All right, lastly, I named the custom command, so I'm gonna call it, 30 second, I actually, yeah, this one. I think I have another script that I want to show you, but we can go with this one. Give me a second. I just realized that I had another script. All right. Count, scan. There you go. Okay, here you go. Yes. All right, we're back. Sorry, I had the wrong buffer. Okay, there you go. Okay, so this is the right script that I wanted to give you. I'm sorry. I didn't want to try an experimental script that I haven't tested yet. You see? Okay, there you go. All right, back on track. I am updating the output schema with the actual right variable, right? I put the right script, and then I said I'm going to execute this every 15 minutes, and then run in parallel mode, and then name it SSID count. Simple, yeah. And then I'm creating, there you go. So now I've created the job, the batch that every 15 minutes at the 0, 15, 30, and so on minute will run this command. But of course I can test it with the run now button. So I'm gonna run it and give it like 30 seconds or so because this should be a fairly quick, how do you say, script. And in fact, here you go. You see I have already the output. So this is the output is the average out of the 4 agents, right? Here specified of the number of SSIDs. So of course there are some decimal because, it's the average. But if I click, then I can see the different number of SSID on individual agent, right? And then, of course, I can also plot. Now, of course, I have only one entry. But then, as this command keeps running in the background, I'll start having also the trend line. All right. So, made it through the demo. It's always like, right, they're known when you do a demo. So let's go back to the slides. And Of course, there is much more that you can do with the custom command. This was a very simple script. And here, what I want to show you is some of the CLI commands that you have available to run your scripts by default on NetBeez. Then, of course, if you need to install any specific utility, right, you can do so on the agent. If you need assistance from our support team, please open a ticket or reach out to us so you can, right, ask to install any specific CLI tool that you need. But here there is a lot to do for at least a network engineer check. We have traceroute, of course, is the path kind of analysis of your routes from all your agents. DIC is a DNS utility. fping is a ping utility along with ping. And then we have curl. Curl is the one, for example, that I use in the script to break down the HTTP loading time into different steps of the HTTP process. hping is a utility that can do TCP ping test, for instance. Speed test CLIs is to do speed test on download and upload speed. There is the fast.com speed test, Dublin traceroute, which is a version of path analysis, and then IW, which is for Wi-Fi agents, and TCP dump, which who doesn't know TCP dump is a very important utility that now you can also include in your custom script. All right. So of course there is more command. There are more commands that you can use. You can always reach out to us or reach out through the community or through support to get more information about your script. And in fact, what we did is in the community, if you're not familiar with that, is located at community.netbeez.net. And we create a special category, custom commands, where our team published already some scripts that you can load and test it yourself right now if you're running NetBeez on version 15. And for example, the one that I was supposed to copy, right, is this one, the Wi-Fi SSID account scan script, right? You'll find it there. This was or script that we published in August as soon as we launched the release, and probably you heard about that. But our goal is really to have the community contribute to developing and sharing and collaborating on more scripts that any NetBeez user can really use by, going to this resource and then copying the script and test it on their NetBeez installation. So actually, if you check maybe the articles that were already written, check maybe the format. I think if you want to contribute, everybody can. It's always good to have an introduction about what the script is about, if there are any requirements or dependencies, and then if you can explain a bit the expected behavior. And I think also a very important thing that any NetBeez user that reviews these should really think about and very assess and verify that the script does what it's supposed to. So of course, we don't want that people blindly copy and paste, right, the scripts on their network agents. So make sure that if you consume some others script, make sure that it does what it's supposed to do, right? All right. So from here, I think we're almost at the end of the webinar, but there is one more thing that we want to, of course, encourage our community and users to share maybe their own scripts. We want to really push everyone to start testing this feature and actually finding real value. So we're launching a small promotion where the first 5 scripts that will be published this month will receive a swag, and you can choose between a t-shirt with different colors. So then we're going to reach out to you once you post it, or a hat. So yeah, I hope this is a little kind of push to start seeing more script populating how do you say, the portal. I mean, right now in September there are none, so there is still time to get the swag. The first 5 get the swag. All right, how are we with time, Jess?
We're good. I think we're ready for some questions. I see one question here if we want to move to the
Okay,
Q&A.
absolutely.
Um, can we install outside Python modules via pip or similar for use by custom scripts?
Right. So any installation, generally, like if it requires privileges, that root privileges, and you don't have that access, which generally are not given by default, but you can request that access to our support team, you cannot. So the long story short is that if you don't have root privileges, the best is that you open a ticket just to get access to make sure that you can install extra dependencies. And also maybe you consult if there is anything particular that you need to know. But the long story short, privilege access is not given right now. So you want to make sure that you get that access from our support team.
All right. I think that's the only question
Okay.
that we had. If anyone thinks of a question after the webinar, feel free to go to our site, netbeez.net, and you can ask via our chat function at the bottom of the screen, or you can email us at marketing@netbeez.net or sales@netbeez.net, and we'd be happy to show you a demo too if you want to see a little bit more of custom command. I think that that's all that we have for you today.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Bye.